Oh, you gotta love it. Naomi not breaking character for anybody. So where Becky Lynch showed up to announce to the world that she was pregnant when she was women's champion and kind of had this, emotional moment, gave the title up, gave it to Asuka, who had won the Money in the Bank briefcase. Naomi goes another route on Monday Night Raw, and Naomi makes the announcement. Everybody feels great for her. But then I feel like wrestling fans felt even better because we have loved this Naomi character so much, this unhinged version of Naomi. And the fact that she decides to still lock in. And even if you watch her on the Raw recap and pay-per-view recap podcast that she's done with Megan and I, those podcasts to me are so interesting because a lot of the interviews end up living in this weird world of like half kayfabe, half not, where the people are half in character and half not in character. And sometimes it's almost like my goal for it is to almost be reminiscent of those JR Mankind interviews, where it's like if the wrestler wants to be in character, stay in character, we're going to ask you real questions. And then either you as a human being or you as a character or some combination of both answer these questions. I think it makes for compelling content. But Naomi would dip in and out of her character. She would have this emotional moment. She would allow us, as people who have watched her along the way, as people who are fans of her, to have this emotional moment with her, only just when you think that she's about to break down or just when you think you're about to go like, oh, start crying, whatever, she snaps back into character and does that maniacal laugh and calls somebody a heifer and curses out Adam Pearce and sends him on his way and leads the crowd in a chant. I just think it's great. I think it was really, really great. I think it was exactly why we celebrate Naomi. The fact that she put that title down. She would not hand it over. And she made reference to the last time she handed over a championship, which, that was when she ended up disappearing from the WWE alongside Sasha Banks for a period of time. But she puts the title, instead she sends Adam Pearce packing, puts the title down, and explains that these heifers have 9.5 months. 9 months and some change, she said. 9 months and some change, and then Naomi will be back as a mother, and not just any mother, a mother to the bloodline. She's creating a new member of the bloodline, and then she'll be back for her World Heavyweight Championship. I mean, I thought it was, I thought it was great. I thought it was really, really fun. I thought it was a really cool way to do it. And I mean, I will tell you that as much as we are all celebrating the fact that Naomi and Jimmy are having a baby, and the greatest thing in life that could happen to somebody is happening to another wrestling couple that on some level we all love, Jimmy and Naomi, the idea that we also know and we also can wildly speculate that when Naomi returns, it's going to be an even bigger deal. Are you kidding me? Let's say Naomi just pops up on the road to SummerSlam next year, or coming maybe the Raw after SummerSlam next year, or whenever it is, whenever she decides to come back. Honestly, it could be even later. It could be late next year. But whenever she does come back, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts for her. Maybe a Royal Rumble 2027 return if she just pops in. But I don't know. I mean, the idea of her, I don't know if I see, I mean, it could be, right? We'll talk in 2027, I guess. But I think that, like, the idea of her just coming out and immediately starting a story, a Royal Rumble return would be great. And Royal Rumble returns are a lot of fun. But when that character is so established, and she's saying that this character isn't going anywhere, this character is coming back, this character, that it's her championship, period. And that I'm going to come back to take it back. Like, I feel like that's something that should pop up when you least expect it. That's something that should pop up, at the end of a babyface having a triumphant moment or whatever. I don't know how you bring her back, whatever the story is at the time. I just want Naomi to be dunked headfirst into it and for the whole world to have changed, because Naomi is back and she's back to immediately hunt for the championship. And she doesn't need to win a briefcase and she doesn't need to win a Rumble. She is back for it. And I hope that Jimmy Uso from this day forward, instead of Big Brother Jim, is Big Papa Jim. I think that's exactly where we should be going. But if you look at the WWE roster page, it is official. Vacant is the women's world champion. Vacant, who has held a great many titles in the WWE, is now also an esteemed member of the list to have held the Women's World Championship. And there are a lot of questions as to what may happen with the Women's World Championship, especially because not only are there people in line for it, but there were people in line for title shots. And I've been thinking about, like, okay, because there are some people that go, you can do a ladder match, or you can do a battle royal, or whatever it is. And for me, I think that the way to go is to trace the history of where this title could have gone. You've basically now got 2 weeks. Last week, Naomi not defending because she couldn't. And this week, Naomi putting the title down. On the road to Stephanie Vacant winning the opportunity to be number one contender. Now, there is a world where you do some kind of multi-woman match at Clash, and Stephanie Vacant has some kind of advantage because she was already the number one contender. But I don't know. I feel like because Stephanie Vacant earned the number one contendership, Stephanie Vacant should get a one-on-one match for the Women's World Championship. I think that whoever faces Stephanie should have to earn it. And if you go back, right, you've got Io Sky, who was deserved a Women's World Championship match. It was promised to her. It was signed. It was advertised. This is what we're getting. Io Sky versus Naomi for the Women's World Championship, and who's to say? Io Sky could certainly argue, I would have won that match, and it would have been Io and Stephanie at Clash in Paris. But then, instead of getting Io Sky versus Naomi, what did we get? We got Io Sky versus Roxanne Perez. And I think that because Roxanne won the match. However she won the match, Kabuki Warriors getting involved, whatever. Fact is, Roxanne Perez pinned Io Sky that night, which means that if you're telling me that Io Sky could have been the Women's World Champion, okay, good, I'll live in that world. If I'm Roxanne Perez, then guess what? I pinned the Women's World Champion. So I could have been the Women's World Champion, right? Or I could have pinned the person that would have pinned her. So I could have also pinned Naomi. So I think that Io Sky and Roxanne Perez both have complete ownership of claiming that they should also be in that same category. I'm looking at what's going on the roster right now, and I feel like Rhea Ripley, just who her character is always in that bucket of maybe I should get a title shot, maybe I should be the champion, maybe I should be whatever. I think that you do one of two things. Next week on Raw, you either do Io versus Roxanne Perez, or you make it interesting and create a little tension. I would like to see them do Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky versus Roxanne Perez. And the winner of that faces Stephanie Vacant at Clash in Paris to crown the new Women's World Champion. I don't need a new champion crowned before Clash in Paris, because then it's almost like, I don't know, are you really going to give somebody the championship for 5 days and then Stephanie Vacant is going to win it? You know, it kind of spoils that a little bit to me. I think that you have a qualifier on Raw to find a one-on-one opponent for Stephanie Vacant. I think the reason you put Rhea Ripley in that match is exactly the reason you're asking, why would Rhea Ripley be in that match? It's so other people on the roster can say, why were you in that match? You know, it's so that story of why does Rhea Ripley get every opportunity? You also have the opportunity to have the Kabuki Warriors cost Rhea Ripley, because I think Io Sky should end up winning that match. Io Sky gets her pin back on Roxanne Perez. It's another match where Rhea Ripley has not pinned Io Sky, so you're killing two birds with one stone there. You're telling both those stories. And you end up getting to Io Sky versus Stephanie Vacant at Clash in Paris. And you walk into Clash in Paris and you say, we are guaranteed a new Women's World Champion. Either Io Sky or Stephanie Vacant walks out of here as the title's vacant. You're guaranteed a new champion. One of these two walk out as champion. And that's a match where you don't need interference. You could have the Kabuki Warriors do something or whatever, but really, the story between Rhea and the Kabuki Warriors and Io is almost over here. Roxanne Perez was pinned clean by Io Sky, so she's over there. We can settle that on the Raw after Clash. But you now walk in with the potential to do this classic, Io Sky, Stephanie Vacant match. And I think it could steal the show if it's the match to determine the next contender, and you've gotten there by Io winning that triple threat. For me, it's 100% the way to go. And I think it could be a lot of fun, and I think it could result in something really, really special.